All right. I'm trying this again. Oh, geez. So, if you're watching this, I'm now watching this from the front end
All
with the
right.
live chat.
Trying
So
this again.
let me,
Oh, geez.
because apparently I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I did. So apparently, so now with live chat, it's on the right side of the video on YouTube. As I used it before, there was like a Google Hangout and that sort of thing. So I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure. So again, this is why we try things out. This is why we test things. So if you are watching this and you can use the chat on the right side of the YouTube thing. I know there were some people watching it earlier and I noticed they were like, "Hey, this link isn't working. Hey, I tried to send I did get a Facebook message from somebody that said there were people trying to talk to me." So, if you're watching this and you can use that chat box, let me know. Send me a chat. It'll show up on there. And if it doesn't, if for some reason I can't do it this time, and you're watching this and trying to chat, and I'm not seeing it for some reason, then I will figure something else out in the future. Maybe it's my issue. Maybe it's my problem on my end. I'm not really sure. So let me see here. Oh, I did get it. Oh my gosh, here we go. Oh, hey, woo. Um, I'm gonna butcher your name, so my apologies. It looks like tortilla to me, Tertia. So if that is you and I butchered your name, my sincerest apologies. Um, Sight loss gets in the way. Plus, I'm not very good at names, but I can see that chat, so that is good to know. Yeah, awesome. Hello, welcome. So glad you're here. So I'm glad I can see that chat. Yeah, so I guess maybe I can see the chat, but what's weird is I'm actually watching it from the front end, and I had to like turn down the volume of the video. So that's really weird. Oh, how can I say? Without the RY. Okay. Tertiary. Tertia? Tertiary? Because that looks like tertiary. Tertia. I don't know. I'm butchering it. My apologies. But hey, at least you're here and I can see your chat. That's what matters. My apologies for butchering your name. Oh well, whatever. Oh, he said yes. Okay, good. Tertia. I'll take it. Do you have a question, since you're probably one of the few people actually watching this right now? If you have a question for me, I'd be happy to answer that. This is exciting. People actually chatting. But anyway, like I said, I'm actually having to watch it from the front end and turn down the volume of the video, which I noticed there is a delay on the video for you guys, but who knows why. So anyway, um, yeah. But I don't know why I can't see where the chat's supposed to come. I'm gonna try something real quick. I'm not cutting. Let's see here. Do, 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 do. Um that is, let's see. Let me edit this. That's not what I meant to do. Who knows? I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's just one of those things where you're, trying to get something. Let's see here.
Great, you are doing live stream. I tried it on my phone and it didn't work so well. Can you see these now?
Yes, I can, Ben. I can see those now. Thank you for sticking around and hanging out with me. I can see the chat now. What's really interesting, like I was saying just a second ago, I'm actually having to watch it from the front end and turn the volume down on the video. So I'm basically watching what you're watching, only turning the video down or turning the audio down on the video. So I don't know why that is, but there you go. Anyway, Tertia, yes, live stream is one of those things that I always want to try. But for visually impaired people, it can be very challenging, especially to see comments, to try to keep track of what's going on the screen, especially with screen readers. I know with Facebook Live, that's been very difficult. And if you watched this earlier, you know, I talked about this, but it can be a little difficult to try to keep things going. So yeah, Ben, it is awesome. I don't know. If you know anything about this, if anybody does and they watch this, it's one of those things where, you know, I'm sure there's a back end I could be looking at and seeing the chat, but right now I actually have to watch it from the front end. And I think I mentioned this earlier. The live stream that I know people were doing from the app, I could see it on the right side, and I thought, oh well, that must be the chat for the or the chat for the part of the app. Excuse me. You can tell how much I edit my videos. But you can, you know, I thought it was just for the app. I didn't realize, you know, it was going to be on the YouTube page. Used to, whenever you did it from Google Hangouts, you could watch it from YouTube, but you couldn't chat on YouTube. You actually had to go over to the Google Hangout area. And so it was kind of like, I thought that was the same way it was now, but apparently I was wrong on that. So, but now I guess with the, you know, with the numbers, it says X amount of people watching right now, then that's the updates from YouTube
We
itself.
couldn't get the link to Hangouts to work.
So Ben, it says that you couldn't get the link to the Hangouts to work. I'm not sure what happened with that. Maybe it was, you know, I think let me say this. I think it was the link to the Hangout. But let me ask you this question. Did you try the link? And if it did it take you back to this page you're looking at right now? Because if it did, I posted the wrong link because that was my fault. So if it did take you back to this page, let me know that, because it was probably my fault for, you know, for doing that. Let's see here. Yeah, so again, if you're watching this, gosh, I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with me. Just doing some question and some answers right now. So if you have any questions, if you have any, you know, comments, anything like that, I'd love to hear from you guys. Let's see.
It didn't take me anywhere. I'll try the link now.
Yeah, it didn't. So Ben, you said it didn't take you anywhere. That's really interesting. I don't know why. You know, I don't know what that link was even for. I think it was for the YouTube page. Now that I look at it, which would be what you're watching right now, I thought it was for the Google Hangout, but you know, who knows?
Yoder is bro. Just wanted to send you a shout. Everything is fine when I pulled up the video. Food for thought.
Chris, so you said everything is fine. That's great. I'm glad.
Hi, Derek. I like your videos. Just figured out the chat.
Hey, Jordan. Glad to have you here, man. I'm just figuring out the chat as well. So join the club because I have no idea what I'm doing on this, apparently. Let's see. Ben says, he says, got it. All right. Are you referring to the link, Ben? Anyway, like I said, if you're watching this, thank you for taking time out of your day. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the shout outs on the videos that I've been getting. Chris, I noticed that you have commented a few times, and gosh, I really appreciate that. So again, if you guys have any questions, any comments, anything you would like to talk about, maybe there's some tech that you've seen, maybe there's questions about, you know, your Apple product, something like that. I'm not an Android user, so if you're an Android user, I'd have to refer you to my good buddy Sam from The Blind Spot. You can check him out. He's pretty cool. And if at any point you hear me pause, it's because I'm listening to comments. I'm using VoiceOver to listen
Referring
to
to why the link kept me on the same page.
Oh, I see. Yeah, Ben, it did keep you on the same page. It was probably the YouTube link. And again, maybe now on the back end, it has a little section where it says links. And I thought it said, I didn't even look at it closely because I thought the top one of them said video embed, which you could like put it on, I could put it on my website. But one of them said YouTube page. Well, that was the link I posted and thought it was the Google Hangout. So I was wrong on that. That was my bad. Because again, I haven't used this in quite some time. So again, if you are watching this from the YouTube page, I'm actually watching it from the front end as well. And there's a delay from me talking to the actual YouTube page, which is normal. I don't think that's surprising. But I had to turn the volume all the way down on that just so I could make sense of myself. It gets somewhat confusing. So anyway, let's see here. Let me make sure I'm still, yeah, okay. Let's see. So, like I said, I've got some videos coming up about the Apple TV. I've got some, I may do a live stream in the near future, maybe talking about the Apple TV, maybe talking about some different products. Let me know if in the comments, give me like a yes or something if you would like to see maybe a live stream talking about um, specific products. So, like, iOS voiceover, iPads, iPhones, Apple TVs, things like that. Would you like to see that in future, like live streams? Would you benefit from that? If so, give me a yes or thumbs up in the comments or whatever the case may be.
Have you done anything on people thinking you are faking blindness?
So Ben has a question. He says, "Have you done anything about people faking your blindness?" I actually watched a video the other day of a girl who was talking about being disabled and how people were um, commenting to her that, I can't believe you're faking this disability, because she has something where she has issues. She has something called hypermobility, which basically means she could dislocate her joints at any time. She's in a lot of pain. So she's kind of in and out of a wheelchair, and she's not necessarily, she doesn't look disabled. And so people were questioning that she was faking it. And that was really difficult to hear, because I was like, oh my gosh, are they really serious about this? And so, as far as being visually impaired, I have gotten people to say things like, you don't look blind. I've gotten people to say things like, when I had a guide dog, they'd say, are you training the guide dog? That sort of thing. But I don't know if I've ever had anybody outright say, I think you're faking this for government assistance. I think you're faking this to get something, because I don't know if that's just never been something that people have asked me. I don't know. I can't really say for sure, but I haven't done anything on my videos about faking it as of yet, because I've never experienced that personally. I know there are people that have experienced that, but the reason I haven't even approached it yet is because I haven't experienced it. And I don't want to come out with something and say, oh, well, here's how to handle this, or people are stupid or whatever. Now, I don't know. It's when people have commented about, like, how can you use a phone? How can you make videos? I don't think they're stupid. I think they're just uninformed. That's all. And, that sort of thing. So, no, I haven't done, that's a long answer, Ben. You're going to find any question you give me on this, I'll give long answers to. But no, I haven't done that yet. So I'm not sure if I will or not in the future, just because, I haven't experienced it yet. Have you guys experienced, anybody in here in the chat room that is visually impaired? Have you guys experienced that or not? Have you experienced somebody saying that you were faking your visual impairment? And if so, why did they think you were faking it? Was it to get a better seat at a concert? That sort of thing. I know that for me, like, going to a theme park, you can get better seats. Not better seats. You can you can get at the front of the line for rides and such. Now, you can't just walk up there; they'll give you a pass, kind of like a fast pass type thing at Disney. But I've never done that, and I'm not blaming anybody that does. But for me, I always felt like I can walk, and so I'd rather save sort of those disability moments for people that can't walk or go upstairs, and that sort of thing. So, but I've never, quote unquote, had a situation where it looked like I was trying to fake it to get something. But that's a long, sordid answer to that question, Ben. Ben, let me ask you a question. Are you the channel from um, Doing Business Blind? If you are, that'd just be interesting. But if you're not, then if you're not that guy, there is a channel called Doing Business Blind. You can go check him out as well. He talks about doing business, so that's pretty cool. Let's see here. There's a few things you have to watch. Whoever gave me the like on the video, way to go. You can give me a big thumbs up on the video if you like this. If you like live streaming, make sure to hit that like button. Um, let's see. Get another comment here.
I have. It was when we went to the movies and I got to use the audio description headset.
So, Jordan, it says that you have and you use the audio description. Now, just as a side comment, I love audio description. It's made my movie watching much better. But you're suggesting that you're saying that somebody suggested you were faking it because you were using the audio description. I don't understand why somebody would assume like, oh, you're faking it. Yes, I'm faking it and listening to people tell me because if I was cited, was cited. If I were cited, there we go. If I were cited, that thing would bother me. Like it would annoy me. So, and to me, what does having audio description, like, what does that benefit you? Now, if you were faking it to, I don't know, get money out of people, maybe that would make sense in their head. But that just, people are weird, I guess. I don't know. But I love the audio description. Like, I think it's a great, it's a great thing. So Ben, you are that guy. Yeah. All right.
They thought I was using the closed caption one.
They thought you were using the closed caption one. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. When I go to the movie theater, I always say, I need the audio description. And then I'll usually say something like, it's the one that tells you what's going on. Because in the past, I have gotten the closed captioning and I've gotten the headphones that just have it louder in your ear. So for like the hard of hearing, that sort of thing. And I'm always a little bit nervous going into the theater because it doesn't give you the audio description until typically the start of the film. Or sometimes you'll have maybe one thing that has audio description on it. But for the most part, still you start the film. So if the film starts and it's not the right thing, then you got to miss part of the movie, and then my wife usually has to run out and get it, and it's a whole big mess. So I have gotten, that one for sure. But, and the closed caption one, like, for people that are hard of hearing, people that are deaf, then that's a great thing for them. But I think the reason that people don't know that there's that audio description, I think the reason that people are kind of like, the reason I say, hey, I need the one that describes it is because I think in most people's minds, why would blind people go to movies? It's one of those things. And again, I don't think they're dumb. I don't think they're ridiculous. I think they're just uninformed. And they don't realize that visually impaired people do all the things that normal sighted people do, plus go to movies and so on and so forth, all those normal things. I love the movies, especially now with audio description. I went to the movies pre-audio description and it was hard at times, but I can remember one of the first times I used audio description in a movie theater. Oh my gosh, it like changed my life. It was just like, this is amazing. So there's one, I think I've shared on a video on the channel before, but there's one theater in my area that does it consistently. And I always go to that theater. It's a great theater. So I appreciate them and I appreciate what they do. Let's see here. Did I ask? I think I asked the question earlier. Would you guys like to see live streams where I explain, iOS or Apple TV or something like that? If you guys would like to see that, give me something in the comments. Like yes, or maybe a suggestion on what you'd like to see. Apple TV, iOS devices, using some type of technology, whatever the case is. Once the YouTube app gives me the ability to have live stream, then I'll be able to do it from other areas in my house other than just sitting at my desk. So Ben says, sure. All right. Well, I'm going to hold you to that. Maybe do a live stream where I talk about that sort of thing. Yeah. Any other questions from anybody in the room? Any questions you have as far as maybe something that you're doing, something that you're thinking? Maybe you have a question just about me, that sort of thing. I'd be happy to answer it.
I'm all Android based, but would like to learn it.
Ben says he's Android based. Well, we'll forgive you for that, Ben. I'm just kidding. My good friend Sam, whom I think you know over at The Blind Spot, he uses Android, and maybe I can get him to give me some pointers on using Android. Actually, I'd like to get my hands on an old Android phone, a phone that somebody is using or has used in the past, and maybe would be willing to give up just so I can learn more about it. um, so thanks for laughing, Ben. I'm glad. Some people would get super offended. They'd be like, well, Apple's the best and Android's the best. Like, look, I don't use Apple products because I think they're better than other products. I use them because they have the best accessibility features, in my opinion. Again, that's just my opinion. Other people may love Android and think it's great. Awesome. Like, you got to use what works best for you. That's the key. If it works best for you, then use it. Like, don't worry about what I say or what anybody else says. Don't think like, well, I got to switch to an iPhone because they said accessibility was better. No, you just use whatever works best for you. And if that's Android, awesome. I like Android phones. If I was sighted, I would totally use Android phones because they seem to be very customizable. They're huge. They have better screens, better processors. I don't think iPhones are better than Android phones. Excuse me. I don't think iPhones are better. I just think they have better accessibility features. So that's that's me. Let's see. We got a couple of comments here. Give me a second while I go through them because it's slow going.
James Quinecki, any tips on being social and making new friends after vision loss when you're out and about? Anna Paula Fleury, sorry, I've been following you for some time and I just came into the conversation. I wanted to know if you use a cane.
And again, guys, as I'm doing this, I'm going through the comments.
Just ordered the new Samsung and I can send you my S7 if it doesn't make me send it back in.
So just going through the comments. First of all, Ben says you can send me your S7. If you want to do that, send me an email, Derek, D-E-R-E-K, at lifeaftersightloss.com. That would be amazing. That would give me the opportunity to go through Android. So, yeah, I would do that. Send me an email, and we'll chat about that. So let me go back. I got a couple of comments here. So first of all, I've got a comment from James who says, any tips on being social and making new friends? Now, James, here's the thing. I'm very social. I'm like social man. I love being with people. I feel trapped if I don't get to be with people. So as far as being social when you're out and about, number one, I would always try to go with somebody that you know, if you can. If you can go to a party, if you can go to an event with somebody you know that's sighted to help you kind of maneuver things, that will take some of that worry away. Number two, don't be afraid to just go for it. Like, don't be afraid to start talking to somebody. One of the things I always fear is I'm going to end up talking to somebody and then 5 minutes later reintroduce myself to that same person. I think I called it something one time like I can't remember what the word is. It'll come to me in a second. But I just basically reintroduce myself, like, hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine. We talked 5 minutes ago. Or I'd introduce myself to somebody that I already knew, and that would be embarrassing. But yeah, I would say go with somebody. Don't be afraid just to do it. It might be embarrassing, that sort of thing. And don't be afraid to go to places that seem a bit odd or weird. Like we talked about, the movies and so forth. That might seem weird for visually impaired people, but I would highly suggest you just do those things. Get used to it. You're not going to go out and be social butterfly the first time you ever go out as a visually impaired person, but just go for it. And if you can, try to find, I know there's meetup.com, try to find meetups in your area where you can hang out with people that, that like similar things. Maybe start on social media, maybe meeting Facebook groups and so forth. But like I said, don't be afraid just to put yourself out there. Like that's really the most important thing. Don't be afraid just to put yourself out there, to try something. If you flop, if you fail, it's just like riding a bike. You get back on the bike and you try again. So hopefully that was helpful to you. But that's a good video idea. So I'm going to try that. Thanks, James.
And
thanks for the comment.
I've been following you for some time.
My next comment, the next question comes from, I'm going to say Anna, I think is your name. If I mispronounce that, my apologies. She asked if I use a cane. I do use a cane occasionally. I do have my cane. I use it for when I'm out and about on my own. If I'm with someone, I typically don't have it. But if I'm out by myself, if I'm going somewhere, if I'm taking an Uber, something like that, I always have my cane. And the reason for that is, number one, it's so people will know that I'm visually impaired. People around me will know that I'm visually impaired. That way, they don't look at me weird when I'm trying to work the Walmart checkout thing. They're actually going to maybe think about helping me. Not all the time, because people don't always know what that white cane means, but for the most part, they're going to try to help me. I'll use it in airports. If I'm going, my wife and I are going to go on vacation in the summer, so I'll take my cane through the airport. I'll take it in busy, crowded places like that, because that way, people are actually looking at it and looking and getting out of the way, again, for the most part. But yeah, I do use a cane, especially and mostly when I am by myself.
What kind of microphone are you using? It has great sound.
Ben asked what kind of microphone I'm using. So this microphone is the Heil PR40. Let me see if I can get this in the shot. There's a delay on my video, so I'm not sure if it's in the shot. I'm sure it is. This is the Heil PR40. Now, it is not a cheap microphone, I will say. It was not built to be cheap. It's not super crazy expensive, but it's not the most expensive mic I could have purchased, but it's not the cheapest necessarily. I bought this because of doing the podcast. So I've had about 4 podcasts that have all pod faded at this point. I do have a podcast right now. I'm going to put that link in the description. Whoops. Let me spell right. Let's see. Bear with me as I type. How do people do this? I don't know. There we go. There's a link to my current podcast, Life After Sight Loss Radio, so you can go check that out. And so I bought it again for podcasting purposes. It is a dynamic microphone. Make sure. There we go. I've got a little bit of dust in my mixer. It's cutting out. It is a dynamic microphone, which means it comes from the front and it blocks out all the sound around it. And it's a really good mic. But if you're looking for a microphone, let me put this in the chat as well. There is one called the... let's see. The Audio-Technica ATR 2100. You can pick one up on Amazon for like 50, 60 bucks. It's a great microphone. Like, it's a dynamic mic, which means it's going to get you from the front so you can get really close to it. Plus, it is a USB mic and an XLR microphone. And if you don't know what XLR is, it is a microphone that has, like you would see on stage. It's that kind of cable. But it's a USB mic, so you can use it with your computer straight out of the box. Plus, if you get an adapter, you can use it with your iPhone and record that way. So it's a great one. No problem, Ben. It's my pleasure. It's one of those things. I really like this microphone. It runs about, I would say, I haven't looked at the current prices, but it runs about $350. I got this whole set, the boom mic and everything, on BSW, which is Broadcast Supply Worldwide. So I think you can find them at bswusa.com. I bought the whole package with the cable and everything for like $360 or something. So it's a good one. I really like it. I wouldn't trade it by any stretch of the imagination. So definitely.
Ana Paula Flores. Hi, Derek. And yes, it is Ana. If you recently lost your sight and a lot of people don't know, would you tell them?
Let's see here. I'm just reading into the comments, so bear with me.
Because I find that sometimes people get a little awkward because they notice and don't understand what's going on.
So Anna's asking if I would tell people if I recently lost my sight, would I let people know? This is always an interesting dynamic, Anna, because with people, if they find out right up front, then that makes them awkward. If they find out after the fact, after knowing you for 2 weeks, that makes them awkward. What I'm saying is they're probably going to be awkward. It's probably going to be awkward for them, and that's just how it is. So anyway, would I tell them? Let me give you an example of one thing I did. So there was a group that I belonged to, and the first time I went to this group, I didn't tell them. And the reason I didn't tell them is because I didn't want it centered around my vision impairment. I wanted them to get to know me because I didn't feel it was necessary to tell them in that moment. I had a friend with me who was sighted, so I didn't need to necessarily tell them. Now, that being said, there was a person who wanted me to go help get some chairs for the meeting. And for the most part, I could do that. That was not a problem. But he at one point said, there's some chairs right over there. And again, if you're visually impaired, you know what right over there means. It's who knows where it is. And I said, "Where's it at?" And he said, "Right over there in the corner." And I think he was gesturing, but I couldn't tell. Well, I've ended up figuring it out because the room we had went to get the chairs wasn't very big. So I got him, I brought him out. About 2 weeks later, I told the group I was visually impaired because I felt it was appropriate. And that guy was like, and I still make fun of him today, when I see him, like, oh, it's right over there. But that was one of those moments where it was like, should I tell them? Should I not tell them? Because if I told him in that moment, what would happen? So is there a right and wrong way to do it? I don't know. I think if some situations are necessary, you need to tell the person, hey, I'm visually impaired. I'm going to have a little bit of hard time seeing this. I just wanted you to know. And especially if it's somebody you've known, let's say you knew him in the past and you haven't talked to him for a while, and then you see him again and they knew you as sighted, it's going to be one of those adjustment periods where you're just going to have to let them know. And if you let them know, try to be I don't mean as detailed as possible. Don't go into like every diagnosis you've ever had, but I would say try to help them understand as much as you can, because many people will say like, what do I need to do? And they either overcorrect or undercorrect. And I'll say typically like, hey, if I need help, I'll ask, just go about your business. I'll ask if I need help. For example, if we're walking somewhere and there's a curb, I might say, hey, is there a curb coming up? Yes, there is. But a lot of times if I know the area, I'll just watch for that person to step down, and then I'll step down because I have just enough vision to kind of figure that out. But a lot of times if that person doesn't know, they'll be like, are you going to fall? What are you going to do? So I'm giving long, rambling answers. I'm just excited to talk to people. My apologies. But yeah, so it depends on the situation, Anna. If they really need to know, you need to tell them. If they don't, you might be able to avoid it, but I think you have to ask yourself, why are you not telling people? Because if you're not telling them just to avoid the awkwardness, you can't avoid it. They'll be awkward at least for a little bit because they're trying to adjust. Now, I have lots of friends and family who have gone through the adjustment and it's no big deal, but it's awkward at first. And so figure out why you're not telling them and then just go from there. So I hope that helps. I hope that was encouraging to you and made sense as I rambled through it. So thank you for the question. All right, let's see here. And again, if you're watching this on the replay and I pause randomly, I'm listening to comments.
Right over there reminds me of the guy at one of my social groups saying it looked like I was doing lines off my phone. Once he realized I couldn't see, he felt bad.
So, Ben, that's a great comment, Ben. Like, there's going to be those moments when people say stupid things. I'm not saying they're stupid people. I'm saying they're going to say stupid things. I can remember one of the first interactions I had with somebody after I lost my sight. I was looking very close at a receipt, trying to sign it. This was pre the big thing at the counter now. But I was trying to sign it, and the girl behind the counter said, "Oh, did you lose your glasses?" And instinctively, I wasn't trying to make her feel bad. I just said, "No, I lost my sight." Like I just blurted it out. And she felt terrible after the fact. I wouldn't try to make her feel terrible. But as to Ben's point, once they find something like that out, they're going to feel bad. Like, they're going to be like, oh, because that looks weird. If I take my phone out and let me turn my voiceover off. Stop it. So if I hold my phone up, I have to hold it like this close to even, and I can't even see it at that point, but I have to hold that close just to get assimilated with the screen. People are going to say stupid things like, whoa, why are you holding your phone so close? Like, what are you doing? And it's just one of those things where it's like, sorry, dude, it's, I can't see very well. Because you have to realize that they're not thinking, their first thought isn't, oh, I bet he can't see very well. Some people maybe, but their first thought is, why is he holding his phone so close? What a weirdo, And so that's definitely happened to me where people have commented. But I also hate it when people realize I can't see and then ask. And the reason for me, this is my pride coming out. So this is confession time. I want to look sighted because I don't want anybody to be like, oh, well, he's blind. Because if I look blind, that's bad in my mind. Now, it's not bad. It's not a bad thing to look blind. It's not a terrible thing to be visually impaired, none of that. But I come from living as a sighted person, and it's not bad now as it used to be. At first, for the first few years, it was, if people noticed I couldn't see, if I was doing something to look blind, gosh, it was hard. It was hard on me emotionally. But now it's a lot different than it used to be. But I think being sighted, I think you identify with that. So it's just one of those things. Oh gosh, that's good. That was a good question. Good question. Good banter. If you were, although it's not really banter when I'm just rambling. When I'm just rambling on. So, any other questions from anybody? I'll stay on here for just a little bit more. My kids should be home in about 10 minutes from school. So if they come barging in the door and I'm like, "Hey, blah, blah, blah," you'll know why. That'll be what it is. I like these live streams with like just private. It feels very private. It feels very small. There's not 75,000 people on here. I may do a live stream in the future for my Veda videos. But doing the Veda videos have been interesting, the vlog every day in April, because I'm trying to do some that are visually impaired related and some that are not, some that answer the question for the calendar. So, but like I said, I've got some more coming up in the next, through the beginning of next week.
People always say you're
Let's see, we got some more comments. All right. I love comments.
Flores, it was a great answer. Thank you very much. I really like your channel. Congrats and hi from Mexico.
Oh, Anna, thank you. Thank you so much. I don't speak any Spanish, but that's thank you for the comment. I really appreciate it. I'm glad it was a good answer, and I'm glad you liked the channel. Like, that was one of the reasons that I started the channel, was to connect with people, other people that had gone through what I've gone through. So you're awesome. Thank you for that comment.
People always say your computer screen is so big, and then I tell them I have Zoom text magnification.
Jordan, you talked about Zoom text and your computer screen. People often, again, it's because when people see things out of the ordinary, usually their first thought is not something to do with vision impairment. It's like, why is your screen so big? Because unless you have dark sunglasses, a white cane, a dog, something like that, and unless you quote look blind, whatever that means, to the sighted world, then that's not their first thought. I don't quote look blind, so people's first thought is not, hey, what's wrong with you? Are you blind? That's not their first thought. If you remember in Daredevil, which is a terrible, terrible movie, I did not like Daredevil. I did not like it. Oh, that's terrible. Ben Affleck did a much better job as Batman, much better superhero, but that's just my opinion. But in Daredevil, in one of the opening scenes, she asks him to pass her something, and she says something like, what are you, blind? Or no, she says, what are you? And I think he says blind, and she's like, oh, he is blind. And he was even wearing dark sunglasses in that scene. So I think it's a good testament to how people that's not their first thought about things. I mean, it's just how it is.
People always say your computer screen is so big, and then I tell them I have Zoom text magnification.
So, Jordan, by the way, are you using, if I can ask, are you using a PC or a Mac? It doesn't matter to me. I was just kind of curious.
Chris, this is better than listening to radio. Keep doing your thing. Awesome stuff.
Chris, thank you for the comment. I really appreciate that. You're awesome, dude. I love listening to the radio, but you're awesome. I appreciate that comment. I'm just on here to get my ego stroked, apparently. I've always wanted to be on the radio, but who knows? So Jordan, you're using a PC. I'm using a Mac, and I don't know. I really love the Mac. So I'm always wondering how other people, do their technology.
Derek, I really enjoy your channel and podcast. I just figured out how to add your podcast to my VicShare stream.
So I got a comment from Bob. Bob, he says, thank you, Bob, for the nice comment. Thank you for the thing about the podcast. And I'm so glad you were able to add it to the stream. Let's see. It says, I'm not sure what that is, the stream you're talking about. I haven't heard of that. If you can tell me a little more about that, that'd be great. But I'm so glad you like it. I'm so glad that it's encouraging and helpful to you. That's awesome. That's the point of this channel. That's the point of the podcast and the website and everything. Connecting with people, encouraging them, that sort of thing. That's awesome. Gosh, this is thank you, guys. You don't know what this means to me, really. It means a ton. So it really does. It means a ton to get real people to hear from and to comment on things. I will do more live streams if this is good for you guys, if this is interesting. Any as we're going along here, any comments or questions, maybe a suggestion of a video you'd like to see, maybe a question you've had, that sort of thing. Let's see here. I got another comment from Miss Teresa. Is it Teresa or Teresa? I don't know. Miss Teresa, she commented and said, thank you. Thank you for commenting. I really appreciate it. And you're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Let's see.
Just Take 10. Yes, I like live streams.
Just Take 10 says, yes, like live streams. Live streams are interesting. Again, it's hard for a visually impaired person at times to keep track of what's going on the screen, so that can be a bit difficult at times. But I'm just doing my best here, and that's one reason I'm doing it from a desktop instead of like Facebook Live or an app or something like that. By the way, if you haven't gotten a chance, go over to lifeaftersightloss.com/Facebook and like the Facebook page. I will put that link in the chat if I can type. Have like how they have like a stamp for your signature. I need to have a digital stamp for that. So I put that in the in there so you can go over and like the Facebook page, because I'm going to try and do live streams from Facebook as well. But since I don't have a huge amount of people on the page just yet, I figured I'd start over here on YouTube. And plus I can do it from my desktop, which is much easier.
Victor Stream is a handheld book reader from Humanware. It plays LOC books and internet radio.
Oh, Victor Stream. Okay, I have heard of that now that you mentioned the Humanware and such. That's so you're able to add the podcast to that. That's awesome. That is fantastic. Would you mind, if you wouldn't mind sending me an email sometime? My email address is Derek, D-E-R-E-K, at lifeaftersightloss.com. Maybe send me an email just with maybe how you did that. You don't have to give me any details, like an hour-long email, even just a link on maybe a page that talks about that, because I think that would be a great video for people to know how to do that, because I've heard of the Victor Stream. I think it's great. My kids are getting home, so that's really good. They're going to be shocked that I'm on a live stream. So let's see here. I'll spend just a couple of more minutes here and wrap things up. If you have any last questions, feel free to put them in there. If I haven't gotten to anything, my apologies, but I want to do that and get it. So yes, my kids are walking in the door. They're probably like, who's he talking to? What are we talking about? Yeah, I'll just wait just another minute if you have any last questions or comments. Hey, if you like this video today, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. I don't have my sound effect. That's terrible. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you smash that subscribe button so that you'll get all the videos coming up. Like I said, I've got one coming up, demonstration of the Apple TV. I've got one coming up talking about work that you can do after you lose your sight. I've got one coming up where I talk about all the things I've learned doing this beta thing. Thank you, Bob. I look forward to hearing from you very soon. Yeah, I've got another video. Let's see. What's the other video coming up? We've got a vlog coming up, just talking about, doing normal everyday things. And of course, the video that came out today was about keeping track of things like keys, your wallet, if you're a guy, that sort of thing. So check that out. And again, make sure to give that like button a little click here on this video so that I know that you enjoyed this live stream, so that I know that you'll like this and do this again, that sort of thing. I really appreciate all of the comments today. And I'm so glad I was actually able to see the comments. If you watched the first one and couldn't see and, were frustrated, my apologies. But I'm so glad that we were able to connect this way. Hey, guys, thank you again for joining me on this live stream. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. I really, 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 really appreciate it. And if you're watching this on the replay right now, then thank you so much for, watching this whole thing. I really appreciate it. It's one of those longer videos, but I've had a great time. I've had such a great time interacting with all of you. Loved hearing from you. I hope to see you on the Facebook page, and I hope to see you in future videos and your comments and everything. And if you have questions that you didn't think of today and you'd like to know more about, send them to me. You can hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, of course, my email. I will put that in the chat box as well, so you'll have that. There you go. So I put that in the chat box so you have my email as well. Send me that email. Send me those comments, those questions, whatever you have. I'd be happy to talk to you guys about it. And remember to give me a big thumbs up on this video if you liked it. Share my channel, my website, my podcast with people that you know, and make sure to smash that subscribe button so you don't miss another single video. And until next time, guys, remember that sight loss is not the end. It is just the beginning of something new in your life. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it sincerely. I hope that it was encouraging to you. I hope that you found some value in it. And I look forward to doing this again in the near future. Thanks, guys, and have a great day.